Hello, fellow people of the internet. Welcome to that podcast with no name. I am your host of the mostness. I'm the random Scottish guy. Follow me on. You can find this podcast on following Spotify and YouTube by looking up that random Scottish guy. I am. I am the guy who is known for classic videos such as Stuart the Gangster, the old Stuart the Gangster videos. Yes, I am that guy, and I am a Doctor Who fan. And today's podcast, I will be covering the Hulk 2003. We'll be reading the shooting script. I'm going to try and get through maybe the first 35 pages. I've checked over and I know where I'm I'm reading up the exact part I'm reading up to. Without further ado, let's begin. So Hulk. Story by James Schamus, screenplay by Michael France and John Turman, and James Schamus, based on the Marvel comic book character created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Shooting scripts. Also be changed to little water drops and falls in ocean never be found. Fellow Dr. Faustus. 1965. Interior desert base. They find out. Day. Credit sequence. Close up. Cells magnifies under the lens of a microscope. Dr. David Banner 30 looks up from the microscope impassive. Later, a baboon inside a glass containment cage is gasped as David Banner, his hands inserted into sealed glass, cradles its dying face. 1966. Ambition, interior desert base, Ross's office. They. There is simply no practical way to shield against every weaponized agent. My approach will create super immune systems by triggering the human cellular response, giving each cell its own chemical shield. Ross, Banner, I know where you're going, but manipulating the immune system. It's dangerous and stupid. I've told you 100 times, and the present science advisor has been absolutely clear. No human subjects. 1967. Secret knowledge. Interior desert base. David Banner's out. Night. David Banner injects genetic agents into himself. Later, alone in the lab, he studies his own blood cells under a microscope. 1968. Patriotty. Fraternity. Interior. Desert base. Banner House. Night. Edith Banner. David, I have wonderful news. I'm going to have a baby. David Banner, trembling, stares back at her. 1969, an animal cry. Interior. Desert base. Hospital. Delivery room. Day. The cries of Edith Banner. Then the small cry of a baby. Bruce Banner is born. 1970, watching. Interior, parents' house. Day. The baby crawls himself up. David Banner watches, takes the pacifier from its milk. The baby starts to scream, falls back, then oddly. Banner studies him. Interior desert base. Banner house. Night. Christmas. David Banner leans over his son and gives him two floppy cloth dolls. Peter Banner watches in the background. Boy takes him last. Interior desert base. Banner house. Day. David Banner draws blood into a syringe from the arm of his screaming son. Surprises him in the doorway. David Banner smears the blood into the glass plate, studies it under a microscope. Close on the cells. Title: Regenerate traces, but of what? Interior desert base, Banner's day. Mother at the kitchen table, sitting with her friend. Little Bruce runs in, expressionless. Blood on the side of his face. Title, 1973 instinct. Either by Bruce, you're hurt. Davy, another boy, runs in behind. Davy, Jack, hit him with a stick. But Bruce wouldn't even him back. He just stood there, shaking, and Bruce starts to shake again, his body descending. Then, with enormous effort, he calms, stops. It's okay. Yeah, interior database. Banner house, family room, continuous. A band-aid applied to little Bruce's face. He runs up. Friend, strange, he hardly made a peep. I never killed would have willed his head off. Edith Banner, concerned. That's Bruce, he's just like that. He's just so bottled up into your desert beach. So off at the day. The samples we found in your lab were human blood. Your North protocol. You had no much around in my lab. That's my business. Wrong Banner. Who's gonna do that? I go off the project. Sabotage it to your desert beach. Cyclotron room day. Jabbar shaking with rage. His lips serious switches into her desert base. Cyclotron room day later. Banner strides down the hallway as alarms begin to sound. Interior database lab control room continues. Alarm sounds continue. Attention all personnel. Fail-safe has been initiated. Gamma decontamination for 30 minutes. Evacuate immediately. I repeat, evacuate immediately. Little Bruce plays with his fluffy doll. Alarms in the bedroom. We hear his father enter the house, his mother's voice raising. They can't make out for words, but feel the heat for argument in the boy's eyes. His dolls morph into fighting monsters. Flash, it looks up, amazed, screaming. She flips on the knife. 14-year-old Bruce stares blankly. Miss Krenzler. Bruce, wake up, son. Bruce. I'm okay. Another nightmare. I don't know. I don't remember. High school. Bruce is on the floor. Size of boots spread around him. Reading. He looks on Miss Krenzler. Enters and sits beside him. Hey, Mom. Already off to college. I'm gonna miss you terribly. I miss you too. Come back here. Look at you. Seem to be a great scientist. I guess. I mean, who knows? I do. There's something inside you so special. Some kind of greatness. Sure. Something you're to share with the whole world. To establish Pleasant Residential. Mirror, early 30s, handsome, intense, in front of the mirror, shaving. He knows himself by the name of Bruce Krenzler, his doctor name, but he'll soon learn his real one. The screws off the razor, watching himself in the mirror, stripping slow. The sound from inside the mirror, watching him, the eyes maybe seem different from his own. He stops, leans closer to the mirror, so they close up. Exit Berkeley Lab. Bruce rises up on his bicycle, parks it in the bike rack, and walks toward the entrance of the building. Two security guards pass by Bruce as he enters the building. Morning, Mr. Krenzler. Bruce enters, hears Harper. O.S. Bruce. These are closeted at once by Harper. They move as they talk. Big day. Did you sleep? I didn't sleep. Have you slept okay? Is Betty here yet? She's around. I really gotta say, seeing you in that styling headwear. You're implying something about my helmet? You look like a massive nerd, even around other scientists. Pulls reaction from Banner. Can I just ask, were you wearing the helmet while she dumped you? It protects my very important thing, gold prep samples. Betty Ross OS found you. Returns to see Bay. She has a report in her hand. Is upset about something. Sir, Betty, hey. He suddenly remembers the helmet, scrambles so frantically to get off of fumes. I hate them. I just got here. Who do we hate? The review board holds the paper. We've got to make a presentation Tuesday, and you're going to make it with me. I think I should. Yeah, you're great with that. Start talking about micros and nanomags. You sound almost passionate. He tries not to look hurt. Tries. Nobody expects this to be easy working together after you were so close. We were close? So bad at this. If I could be different, open up or whatever I do, it's not your fault. You're just a byproduct of my inexplicable obsession with emotionally distant men. I'll get over it. Very sorry. Good for you. It's clear he doesn't want her to get over them, but not clear to her. Anyway, I'm just really stressed about this review. If we don't get an impressive result today, we're gonna have a hard sell come by Tuesday. She smiles reassuringly. Very face to buy her talk. Then let's go be impressive. The frog sits inside a transparent chamber of thick glass, surrounded by the glittering panels of a ganosphere. Harper releases the nanomeds. The hissing sound, the chamber fills with gas. Okay, let's hit Freddy with the gamma radiation. Harper, silently, steady lab assistant, pushes instructions into a keyboard. A pinpoint of gamma radiation hits a focal lens above the pedestal. In a flash, it zaps the frog across the chest. The ugly gash, for a moment, nothing. Bruce Banner, watching, slowly, the wound begins miraculously to close up. As it closes, it leaves a zone of throbbing, almost fluorescent green in its wake. The freshly produced tissue is saturated with color. Next to Banner, Betty Ross, late 20s, early 30s, beautiful, smart. And yeah. But suddenly, splat, the frog explodes, splashing its innards all over the inside the container. Disappointment was tense. Bruce and Betty are in the lab working on the problem, but are also kicking back and celebrating their failure. They've got a couple of beers, are fairly casual. Looking up. You were going You want to go to the review board on Monday and tell them we developed a new method for exploded frog? Yeah, I think maybe there's a market for it. Eh, there's a plate smiling. What, have you had like one beer? I'm just saying, frogs that's falling from the sky. Who did it come to? We'd be world renowned. Make any parrot proud. Her smile becomes a contemplation of him after a beat. I bet if they would be, if they wanted me to be a pilot, I mean, your birth parents. I guess we'll never know. I don't understand why you don't want to find out about them. They're dead. They died before I remember anything. And why do you always come back to this? I guess I figure there's more to you than you like to show. I guess there couldn't be any less. And they come full circle back to that. Nice work, Betty. As Betty enters, she hears a voice calling from behind her. Betty, Glenn, what happened to your uniform? I switched over. Still work your dad, but the military is subcontracting out all the most interesting work, and I can't argue with paycheck. I basically run all the labs on the base now. He gives her a quick look like, hey, you're looking good. Yeah, yeah, you can tell this is going to be a long read through of this script. This is fun. I am enjoying this. How long have I been recording this? 15 minutes into this. That's nice. That's good to know. How Betty Interlap. Ah, the good old college days. So how's business? What do you want? Smells greetingly. Okay, I'll cut to the chase. I've been hearing interesting things about what you guys are doing here. This could have been some significant applications. How do you like to work? How do you like to come to work for Afon? I get paid 10 times as much more an hour and own a piece of the patents. She rises, pointing line towards the door. At which moment the door opens and Banner enters. He stops, seizing up the situation. Ross sits at his desk and Eve comes in for a folder. In general, the girl wanted you to see this. It's about a lab Afon is targeting for acquisition and removal to Desert Base. Why is it he could create NSC? It concerns your daughter, sir. The soul almost unsteady movement of a janitor's cart being pushed tirelessly. It stops a bucket, dirty water, and mop. Powerful hands slowly mop the floor back and forth. The janitor's eyes distant. Full call his sympathy to father. I don't see the father's face in its entirety, but it's vaguely familiar. He stops, leans against the mop, listens. He's standing in front of the door to Banner's lab. Muffled voices. Betty passes by the janitor. She feels his gaze over her back as she walks down the hall, stops, turns around. Hey, what happened to Benny? Is he still working the night shift? Benny's dead. I'm the new guy. Oh, glad to meet you. Same. He moves down the hall. Banner working. Pauses. Takes out a snapshot from his desk drawer. Betty and he sitting in front of a cabin in the woods. A lake behind them. Close on the photo, the sound of the wind in trees, the color actually comes alive. Title Memory Desire. The camera on a timer clicks. Banner gets up to reset it. Let's try another. No, I look tired. You are tired, but you look great. He resets the camera, then goes to sit beside her. He puts her arms around her. The camera takes the picture. He looks at her, brushes her hair back. Hey, what's the matter? It's the dreams, they're terrible. I keep having them. Then do you like me? And don't sleep. It's not an option. It shouldn't be for you either. Tell me about your dream. It starts with a memory. I think it's my first memory. An image I have from when I was maybe 2 years old. Flashback. A little girl laughing, being lifted and thrown from her father's arms, and caught and thrown again. Her father in military uniform, we see him from behind. A jeep pulls outside. The soldier beckons. The officer pulls the girl down. She starts to cry. The sky darkens, a low menacing rumble. In the distance, an enormous dust cloud. Now, some kind of bomb. The various shots, the dusty streets of the base. As the cloud rises, we glimpse our young boy's face, looking through the window of one of the small houses at the darkening sky. Banner. Do you think it's a dream or a memory? I think it's something that must have happened out at Desert Base with my father. Anyhow, the dream goes on and suddenly I'm alone. The girl cries and cries. Then, a hand covers the girl's mouth. She looks up in terror. A man, his face obscured by some behind him, her eyes widening. We make out his features. Banner, grim, determined. Back to the present. Banner is charging, but that's terrible. You know I would never hurt you. Affectionate, but pain. You already have. How? You're breaking my heart. Banner puts down the phone, picks up his bag and exits. He walks into the main hallway, deserted, a few lights on, some evening light drifting in. He hears a whimper from around a corner. He walks toward the sound. We're whimpering. He turns a corner. A small, mangy-looking poodle sits in the middle of the hallway alone. Hey there, who are you? He goes to pet it. Suddenly it bares its rotten teeth and growls, snapping. Okay, okay. Banner backs away, looking for the dog's owner, nowhere to be found. The jar of his car. Banner's office chair, Farah's hand, rubbing along it, finds a hair, picks it up and holds it to the light. Banner speeds down the hill on his bike. Banner now going up a hill, his legs straining, his eyes. Banner rides on a bicycle. Banner sits at a makeshift desk. He absent-mindedly tends a small Zen moss garden on the desktop. Later, a scratchpad, figures, calculations, sketches, DNA sequences, data sheets lying around. The clock, 2:27 a.m. Banner gets up on his desk, stands at the window. Shadows from a willow tree. A light from a tree lamp. An intricate dancing web. On the sidewalk in front of the house, under a willow tree, a single figure walks. He pauses. They see him only in silhouette, tall, powerful, but slightly stooped. He stands there, sinister, looking up at the house. The willow's shadows bend. They seem to form a pattern, subtly, like a Rorschach, and a subliminal MC Escher engraving two interlocked faces, the faces of a pair of distorted stuffed animals, the dolls with Banner's childhood. Side. There, Banner stunned, sitting up in bed, cross-referencing more data sheets, taking notes. He throws the pencil down. Damn. In dreams and knowledge he seeks, or memories he cannot grasp. Later, Banner sits somnolent, big words, his breathing, the clock, 4:48. His eyes started to flutter close, haunting, echoing sound of footsteps, the sound of the whimpering dog. Banner's closing eye beneath the eyelids. Raping movement, dream state. Images sweep over the scene. Images sweep over the screen, as in a dream. Fairly coherent. A small boy, 4 years old, plays with a pair of stuffed toys, long beaks, floppy ears, oversized feet. His small hands lifting the toys into the air, flying them down. He makes noises, smalls, shouts, surprise. Sound effects, crashing skids. His point of view as he moves the toy about. It becomes slightly, almost indistinguishably more animated. We hear voices, adult human voices, man and woman in the background, but can't make out what they say, only that their voices raise to a fever pitch, yelling, and then an unearthly primal scream. It emerges from the boy's mouth. Cut to the same scream muffled coming from inside. Banner, startled, raising from the bed, his eyes. Something catches his attention out of the window. The low figure still there in the shadow, obscured, but seeming to look up at him. Banner pulls the blinds close, fades in deep, and then opens the blinds again, but now only shadow. The figure walks away. Behind him trail 3 ill-kept dogs, a mastiff, a pit bull, and a poodle he saw earlier. The small, weedy yard of a run-down row house, chain-link fence. The father unlocks the padlock on the gate. The dogs run in ahead of him. He throws them strips and chunks of meat and old vegetables, then unlocks and enters the house. Light from a single ball. The place, just about as you'd expect. Dirty, a mattress in the corner, not much of anything else, except on a long worn table, stacks of papers, books, journals, and small working area. The man clears a pile under which is a gleaming, super thin notebook computer. He opens the screen, presses a button, and sits down. The light from the screen illuminates his face, and now we recognize him, Dr. David Banner, 30 years older. On the wall behind the computer screen, a bulletin board filled with images and clippings from various scenes of Prof versus career, yearbook, photos, graduation, etc. The father's face pensive. He raises a hand and touches one of the quotes. Bruce, my Bruce. From a small container, the father pulled out a strand of hair. He places it on a glass plate, cups it tiny fine pieces with a razor, puts the pieces into a small test tube filled part way with a milky substance. Then pulls the test tube inside of the apparatus that will culture the DNA from the hair. The apparatus hums and vibrates. A wire runs to the super thing notebook computer. From behind we hear him tap remarkably quickly on the keypad. Okay, I'm just going to... Now, if you excuse me, that I'll take a small, tiny break, and we will come back to our read through the 2003 Hulk script. And welcome back to the podcast with no name, episode 3. So we are continuing where we left off with the reading of Hulk. Banner enters to discover Paula and Betty talking. Betty Roth. Morning, Glenn. Stopped by. What's he doing here? You know, Dr. Prinzler. We've never had the chance to get to know each other properly. That's because I don't want to know you. Properly or improperly. Leave. Smarmy. Hey, no worries. He goes to the doorway out of earshot of Egg, trying to turn the nose to nose of Banner. But let me give you a little heads up. There's a hair's breadth between friendly offer and hostile takeover. I've done my homework. The stuff you're doing here is dynamite. Think of GIs and better technology that makes an instant repair on the battlefield. In our sole possession, that's a hell of a business. That's not what we're doing here. We're doing the basic science for everyone. You know, someday I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna call when stupid ideals happen to smart, penniless scientists. In the meanwhile, Bruce, you'll be hearing from me. Later, experiment process. Harper is monitoring the countdown and process. Glenn and I, there's nothing to talk about. Runner pauses in the corner of his eye. He watches Harper through the glass window, wedged in the center of the Gammasphere testing interlock switch. Okay, I just wanted to say, don't worry about him. I'll handle it. How? I'll call my father and ask him to exert some pressure. The last I heard, you and your father weren't speaking. No, I have something to talk with him about. Harper calls out through the intercom. I think the circuit kind of fried, or I don't know, maybe you want to take a look. Okay, I'll be right there. Banner goes to the experiment area, pick out the respirator mask. He's just entering the clean room, mask in hand, when the interlock switch. Harper's still fiddling with it. Shorts out. There's a few sparks, flashing lights, and a quiet audio counting down klaxonry to zoom in the clean room. Inside the Gammasphere, Harper tries to back out, but his mask catches on one of the protruding alignment rods. He panics. Bruce sprints over to him, reaches in to pull the snagged mask free. In the control room, Betty has moved to Harper's workstation. The control software on his monitor is no longer paused. She tries to stop the countdown, but there's no response to the keyboard. First, the interlock at Gammasphere halves. Bruce hurls the freed Harper backward. Harper secures his mask just as the countdown reaches zero. The nanomads release as the gamma canister rotate into arm position. Betty pounding on the glass, begin from inside the chamber as she screams for Barnes to get out. Bruce Ruva, Harper, and Betty are directly in line of fire. With 1 second left, he makes his decision. He turns back to the sphere, raises his arms and blocks the opening. The gamma canisters fire. He takes the full blast. His body glows with radiant energy. The alarm sound. Banner lets out a hideous yell. Close. Banner's face. Flash. Floppy dolls morphing. Flash. The bomb in the desert. Banner drops to the knees. We hear pounding on the door to the isolation chamber. Only there is a small smile on his face. Banner is sitting alone in bed, almost gleeful. The door pops open. Betty rushes in anxious. Closes the door behind her. That was Harper. Betty pulls the chair next to the bed and sits down, worried. He's alright. You saved him. I don't think he's going back to the lab for a while. Betty's shaking. I don't understand how this is possible. He should be dead. If I worked in animals, I feel great. I feel like I don't know, fix it. First, the nanomeds kill everything they're in contact with. Are you sure the doctor checked you? Laughs a bit. He did the full work. He wants to know where he can get what I'm taking. I'm 100% cause more. What do you mean? Remember my bad name? Well, now it's my bad name. Now it's my good name. This is a fucking funny. Tears up. I was watching, gonna die, and I was gonna have to watch you die. She struggles to get control of herself. She's out there. I'm sorry, really. Hey, I'm not gonna explode. The fuck? She rolls her eyes even through the tears. You should get some rest. I'm fine, really. I've never felt better. Found her sitting on a hospital bed. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Excuse me. Hooked up to the various monitors. The monitors are nothing abnormal. He picks up the phone, dials. Hey. Hey, how are you? Fine. Sure, yeah. What are you doing? I was just sitting here thinking about you and about your dream. What in the desert? What were you thinking about? I don't know. Sometimes when I'm not really thinking about much of anything, I remember images from it. Did I ever tell you that? No. It's as if I dreamed it myself. She gets to see, yeah, you too. Time passes. Fire nods over, whimpering sound a slight growl. He opens his eyes, a lamplight from the parking spills in through the window. Dreamlight. He sees, sitting across the room, surrounded by his dog's father. Connor sits up as the dogs lift their heads. Her. The father just sits silently, almost kindly. Connor senses the father's kinship, instinctive familiarity, and where are the dogs? The intruder is present. Your name is not Krensler, it's Banner. What? Your name is Banner. Bruce Banner. How did you get in here? Flash, the father, 30 years younger, handsome, holding the stuffed animals, offering him then as a gift, smiling. I work here now. In the labs. Relation. It keeps it close to you. You always work so late yourself with your friend Miss Ross. Banner starts to sit up. Forgets tangled in wires, tubes. No, please, you're not well. He goes to Banner. Blood starts to jumble as he talks. You had an accident. You're wondering why you're still alive, aren't you? You're thinking there's something inside, something different, inexplicable. Well, I can help you understand. If you'll forgive me. Look, mister, I'm sure I have nothing to forgive you for. So maybe you'd better just go. Please. I'll be fine. You must know. You don't want to believe it, but I can see in your eyes so much like your mother's, of course. You're my flesh and blood. But then, you're something else too, aren't you? My physical son. But also the child of my My mind too. You're lying. My parents died when I was a small boy. That's what they wanted you to believe. The experiment states for top secret. They put me on for 30 years. Away from you, away from our work. But they couldn't keep me forever. After all, I'm sane. They had to admit it. The father raises his arm. The dogs come to attention. You see, everything your extraordinary mind has been seeking all these years. It's been inside you. And now we will understand it to harness it. Phone rings, Banner looks over to it. Miss Ross again, don't answer. There's something I need to tell you about her. There's something troublesome that I can predict from her. In a flash, Banner starts to tremble. You're crazy! Get out! I look at menacing heat pass over the fire's face. The dogs crouch for like, get up! Heel. The dogs back off. A pregnant pause. We're gonna have to watch that temper of yours. He goes. The dogs follow. Banner asleep, dreaming, crashing in bed. Flash, the gamma explosion under the sheets. His body groans, stretches. Shoes pop up. The bed depresses. And in his eyes, is it the reflection of a street light? Or is her a tinge of green? He bolts awake in a cold sweat. In the darkness, he stumbles. He hears the crash of a lamp falling. Banner, still in the darkness, makes his way to the bath. A flash. Banner has turned on the mirror light. He studies himself in the mirror, nothing. Camera pulls back. We see the stitching on his t-shirt and pajama legs, ripped up seams. His eyes are free. They close. He collapses. In the shadows, the farmer's dog circle, silent, nervous. Containers of various sizes marked with various warning stickers, all stolen from Banner's out, litter the room. From under a table, the farmer picks up a cage. A large rat scurries inside. He places the cage inside another clear container in the middle of the room and drops one of the canisters inside. It's the same type canister from which the enemies were released in the earlier experiments. He goes into the hallway, stands around the corner, and flips on a light switch. The room is immediately alive with the hum of radiation. The rat's cage starts to spark. The canister breaks open. A cloud envelopes the rat. And then, one last spark, the fire turns off the juice. Gingerly, he turns the corner back into the room, looks at the cage. Inside the rat, open sores burns slimy, but now 3 times as big. Troughing, tearing up cage, the father smile. Betty is taking blood from Banner. He finishes taking the blood. Are you okay? Sure, how are you? I got a message from my father. He's coming to see me. Your father, when? He lands in an hour. Funny thing was, he called me. The veil. Banner tested. Microscope. The day passes. Computer. Frustration. Jet traces but of what? Joint Tactical Forces West. Fargate. Betty drives onto the base. Shows ID to the guard at gate. Betty enters the officer's club and sees her father already seated at the table. Across the room, he stands as she arrives at the table. Hi, Dad. Betty. Later, they study their menus, aware comms of bread and butter. Alright, I'll get to it. This is about Glenn, isn't it? He's been snooping around my lap. Glenn noticed some things. He asked me to make some inquiries. You've been spying on us, of course. Betty, listen, we've turned up some surprising pictures. Turns out your work. You know who he really is? how much you actually know about him. I think the question is, what is that you know about him? Oh, right now, I'm not at liberty, so not at liberty to disclose that to me, right? I was really hoping this time that you honestly wanted to see me again. Fishing at your back. Why do I bother? We've got this all wrong, Betty. Do I? Yes, I do want to see you. I'm genuinely concerned for you. She gets up to leave just as the waiter returns to take her order. I wish I could believe you. Night. Banner sore. Headache flashes of pain as he works. We hear bits of his inner voice. The phone rings. He doesn't notice. The machine picks up. We hear Betty's voice as Barrett distractingly hears as we listen. We see close up the various items in the lab as Banner's eyes dart from object to object, getting increasingly paranoid. Bruce, you there? I saw my father. It's like he suspects you of something. Oh, I don't know. He was so impatient as always. I was so impatient as always. I should have heard him out. I just think we're planning something with the lab. With you. Just call me, okay? Banner's eyes dilation. He jumps up to get to the phone, just as we are hung up. He knocks over the vial of blood. It breaks, the red liquid spilling on the floor. He looks down, horrified, frozen, pounding heart. What am I? A sound in the hallway, the dogs. He runs out. No one. He starts to run through the deserted halls, around the corners, looking, searching. Bumps into equipment cart, please! He keeps running, trips, hits the wall, bloody lip. He lifts himself up, an animal cry emerging from within him, the scream echoing in the halls. Now we hear more than we can see. The furies, destruction of everything in arm's reach. Animal fury, a few glimpses of reflection, huge green limbs, fists, muscles tightened. A wall punch through, the gamma sphere flown through the roof. It lands outside, top of a security cruiser. Back inside, smash cut, glowing eyes alert, stopping. Red alarm lights flash, but silently. At the far end of the lab, the eyes detect the father standing watching. Jump. The father lands at foot the father. Leaps on the foot the father, who oddly shows no fear. The silence. The father reaches out tenderly with his hand, touching flesh. The eyes off the hub. Ham for a moment, then filled again with fury. Sounds in the background, coming closer. Another scream. The father steps back, afraid now, falling to the floor. The sound of people yelling in the background, approaching, jump, the figure leaps and smashes through the roof. As the emergency vehicles arrive, the shadow of the figure merges into the trees of the hillside. I knock on the door, nothing, another knock, then a key turning in the lock. Betty enters. Bruce, no answer. She passes through the living room. We see down the hall, the back door broken swing on its hinges. She goes to the bedroom. Bruce, sound asleep, wrapped in the sheets. The room a mess. At the dining room table, there was some kind of explosion. They wouldn't let any of us into the building. I was worried about you. Nah, it wasn't me. What happened to you last night? And there you have it, folks. That was the reading of the 2003 Hulk script. Part 1, by the way. Part 2 will be coming soon. I don't know when, but I'm going to take a break, and I'll see you in the next episode of the podcast with no name.